Hello and welcome to the Agency Insider podcast. I'm Navneet Kaushal, CEO Page Traffic, and today we have a special guest, Andrew Sterling Ansley. Andrew is the Director of Marketing at Helium SEO, the founder of Content Sprout AI, and a contributor to Search Engine Land. He's a seasoned SEO expert and a digital marketer. Andrew, welcome to the show.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
So, Andrew, let's start by diving into your background. Can you share with us your journey into the world of SEO and marketing? What were some of the pivotal moments that led you to where you are today?
Yeah, I would say my background was in sales. Well, technically, I started with data analytics and sort of like a credit card processing world. So I know everything about credit card processing. I hated that world. And I ended up going into sales. And after sales, I realized I just don't like selling, at least not in the way that I was taught to sell. I did door-to-door sales for a little while too. So I sold educational books and software, and I would just knock on doors. And the whole goal was, you can't call it quits until you've gotten 30 no's. So that was like the whole thing. So that'll really, honestly, I think sales is one of those things. Sales and bartending were the two jobs that were like the most pivotal, I think, for foundational skills that allowed me to be an entrepreneur, allowed me to, I think, really get these soft skills where talking to people, I don't know, there's a lot to it, and not being denied, it just isn't as big of a deal. So I ended up getting off and on. I was going to school. It took me 7 years to finally graduate. I had a lot of medical bills that I was trying to pay off. I didn't want to take on too much debt. So I ended up pivoting at the last second for my degree. I had 6 months left, and I had a philosophy degree. And I was like, well, I'm not going to do anything with this. So I need to figure out what I'm actually going to do. So I started Googling jobs that involve creativity that I can do from home. And I had no idea. It's like, all right, let's see. Marketing came up. Found marketing. So I ended up getting this one random job where it was this guy who, there's a famous commercial with Budweiser with like this frog. It was like on the Super Bowl back in like 98 or something. Anyway, so that guy who made that, the creative mind of like, he had a bunch of commercials and ditties. The Shell station, he did like all of their ditties too. Anyway, so he hired me because of like, we had connections, and I basically just researched for him. I found solutions to problems. So I kind of called myself like a tech consultant almost, where logistics tools, CRMs, you name it, I just went out and started really learning the world. And as that was going on, I was also researching and constantly trying to practice SEO, because I heard that SEO needs the least amount of money. It's just a time sink. Like if you put enough time into it, you don't need money. I'd say anyone can do SEO for probably $100 a month. You could have a really successful SEO project, but you are the only one on that project. So after that, basically I got this random job I called everyone that ranked #1 for like my city SEO. And I just tried to get a hold of them. And I said, can I work for free? Can I work for free? Someone finally answered. I started offering, I was poor, and I offered $50. I'll buy you lunch, give you $50. Just meet with me. This one guy met with me. That guy ended up getting hired by a tool called Raven Tools. And at one point they were, one of the biggest tools. I mean, Ahrefs was just getting started. Moz was obviously huge, but we have Rand Fishkin on one side, and then we had John Henshaw on the other. And they were neck and neck for a while. And then I'm not going to get into the full backstory of that, but one of them declined and one of them did not. So that kind of got my start. I started posting YouTube videos, started going to conferences, started my own business, and it's just kind of gone from there. Now I have an AI software tool and director of marketing, and I got rid of my agency because I didn't want to run an agency anymore. And I don't know if I ever will run a full agency again, but yeah, that's my background.
Okay, that's interesting. So in which year was this when you were looking at these jobs?
What year was it with SEO?
Yeah.
I'd say 2017.
Okay. So now you do more with the Content Sprout AI, which we're gonna talk a little further as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about Content Sprout. Of course, you are the founder of Content Sprout, which has been making waves. And how does Content AI Sprout AI stands out from other tools available in the market?
Yeah, I would say there's this sentiment. I think that a lot of people, I don't think, actually, I don't know where you lie on this. What's your opinion on AI content right now? Do you think that it's just like good, bad? Is it usable? Can you post it without editing it? What's your
Uh,
current opinion? Okay, agree. So I tested every AI tool I could find. I found like 25 tools. And there's some that just like they don't meet the bare minimum for me to even consider them a real tool. But I tried 25 of them and I only saw probably 4, I think, that actually had decent content. So I think that's one of the things of what makes Content Sprout different is we're up there. We did a test, and I think there's a couple ways to view or to grade your AI content. There's just overall readability. Is it nice to read? Does it sound like it's AI? If it does sound like it's AI, that's boring. The formatting. So is the formatting good? Then we have on-page optimization. How optimized is it? Is it going to require a lot of work with an SEO tool? Then there's, I think, some new stuff in there, which is diversity of content formatting. So bullet points, lists, tables, that kind of thing. And then last would probably be the entity optimization. So if you're familiar with Corey Tugbert, he really made everything kind of famous for this. I would say his work where he talks about heading vectors, that's a big one. So are you familiar with what a heading vector is, or like another term for it is a topic sentence?
Yes. So, but for our listeners, if you can explain it.
Yes. So basically, the way that AI, or we'll just say machine learning, works is it's going to read content and it's going to try to imitate or get as close to understanding as possible. So how do you do that? We see that Kyle Roof in 2018 did his famous study where he was able to rank with Lorem Ipsum. And
Right.
Lorem Ipsum, if you can rank with that, it means that, well, back then content wasn't that important. It's really just the placement of keywords and the frequency of keywords. While you can still game the system, we're moving to this point rapidly where that's no longer the case, where Google's actually really getting good at kind of understanding content. But there are zones inside of your article. So same principle as what Kyle Roof showed, which keyword zones. But now it goes into sentences, paragraphs, the logical order, the whole hierarchy of your article, the headers. So how you even unpack an article. So for instance, every single article, you should be contextualizing everything that is below the H1 with your first few paragraphs or first couple paragraphs, however many, before your first H2. That's one element of this. And that would be a heading vector. The idea is you want to have content that answers the heading as quickly as possible. So with an H2, if it says is SEO, well, you would immediately say this. Most AI writers are going to say SEO is a incredibly important facet of the digital marketing community, and it is something, 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 blah, blah, blah. And then maybe by sentence 2 or sentence 3, it's then kind of defining it. You want to just define it. There's no room for fluff. So if it says what is SEO, then the heading vector is SEO is this. And that's, I think, a big thing with my tool. There's no fluff. The AI words like delve and critical and I don't know, you name all the furthermore. There's just like all these there's probably like 20 words that AI really overuses and just kind of beats you over the head with. We get rid of that. We optimize for heading vectors. We tried a bunch of different tools. We get a 100 out of 100 on inlinks for every article. And then Quora optimized, we're usually beating number 1 with no editing for Quora as well. So it's just like that's probably the biggest thing in terms of our content quality. And it has tables, almost no hallucination. And it really doesn't even require editors. I still like to edit, but I'm just saying that's kind of one of the major differences.
Okay. So would you like to show this tool, just a walkthrough if possible?
Oh, sure. Happy to share it. Do I share? How do I share? Present. There we go.
Right.
Share screen. Do you see my screen?
Not yet.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah. Just let me just. Right.
You got it?
Yep.
Perfect. So the idea is simple. Everything is put into projects. Projects is what is going to be kind of like your website name. So it could be a niche. It could be whatever you want it to. I'm in my developer environment, so this isn't the actual live environment. But in the developer mode, I get unlimited credits. So obviously, that's the one I try to use.
So that's the one we should also subscribe, right?
Yeah. Wait, what'd you say?
So I said developer mode is the one which everyone should subscribe.
Yeah, everyone should subscribe to developer mode. So you start with just adding a project, and the idea is just connect what you're working with here. So we have context when the AI is writing. So we have what's the general search intent? What's the website's purpose? What is the niche you're in? We get AI to basically understand this anyway. It's going to read things on the internet. It's going to have background prompts that make sure that we have a firm understanding of your business. We have intent, reading level. You can act as somebody. I don't recommend these two. They de-optimize the article. But the meta description prompt, you can customize that. You can sync it with your WordPress. And what's nice is you can actually sync it both ways. So if you update within the tool, it'll update inside of WordPress. And if you do changes in WordPress, it'll reflect here. Then you can upload your CSV. So if there's any internal links, you'll just be able to apply that by just having a simple links on one side, keywords on the other, and then it applies it. So that's generally how that part works. The actual writing. And just hit this to connect to your WordPress site. Let's do Flask and Barrel, which is a project I'm building in public. Hopefully the developer is done working on this because it wasn't working earlier. Yeah, it's not the normal one. Of course, he's still working on it. Tools, content, sprout.ai. I'll load that later. So because he's working on it, what I'll just show you is you have table of contents here. You can generate schema. You can improve highlighted sections. You can generate FAQ questions, your internal links right here. You can analyze your article. We have a GPT here so that your editor doesn't even need to leave. And the GPT takes the entire article context and basically uses that as its system text. So you can dialogue with it and it has all the knowledge of your article.
Okay.
You can send it off. You can schedule it. If you schedule it, just select the date you want. Easy peasy. You can bulk write outlines. So I could create outlines this way. I could write articles, or I could send them all off. Just select my categories, the URLs, hit my schedule, and then how many days, how many posts per day, and you're good to go. And you can bulk write them, bulk do all that stuff. The other piece of this is that you could do your topic research. So you can either import your existing research, or we create a topic map, and then it allows you to kind of explore and dig into categories. So currently, let's see if there's a good one to do about cash flow. I'll do cash flow. I just gave a demo of cash flow. So if you have no research, the idea of the tool was, how do we make it where we have an incredibly scalable system? You can have remove the need to have entire content teams. So basically you could run an entire agency off of one person that's kind of editing your content across the agency. Because it only takes 5 to 10 minutes per article if you're trying to get it to the highest quality. But the research too is all done through this. And then you can append further research through like Ahrefs and stuff. But let's look at cash flow statement. The idea is it creates these categories. You can expand the categories. You can rename the categories, add custom categories, and then you just ask it to research. So you can research, you can cluster and analyze, you can get search volume, you can append your data, or just view the topics. So this one's been researched, and we have it's been clustered and analyzed. So let's just open cash flow. So I haven't done my search volume yet. Basically, my way of doing this is I'll just export this using this here.
Okay.
Get my Ahrefs data or whatever, and then I can append that data here. So the nice thing is I can also append like keyword difficulty or any of the things you like about Ahrefs, global volume, traffic potential. And then you still have it here in this system that's going to be kind of like your mission control to be able to then figure out which articles you want to send into your project. We cluster it based off of 3 similar results. So if operating cash flow, operating cash inflows, and operating cash outflows, they're all cluster 7. That means that it's the same article that likely could rank for this. So all that means is you can just filter it out if you want and say, well, I only want to show 1 keyword per cluster, and let's just keep the one that has the highest search volume. Done. Great. We create titles based off of the SERP. So whatever the titles are on the SERP, we're going to reverse engineer those. We can do it based off of intents. We tag the intent too, because we're reading every page for every keyword for the top 10. And then if I only want to write blog articles, then I'm just going to mark that. And now this is kind of all I've done now. I don't need to do anything else. I have everything you're seeing here is ready to be written. So I have 102 articles that can be written. If I wanted, I would just hit this little drop down. Let's drop down here. I could hit all, and then I could just select this, send to my project. Let's do sample. Send a sample. And now all those articles are ready to be outlined and written. And that's kind of the whole flow of the tool. So that's all there is to it. You can do some other visualizations too if it helps. So you can see it this way.
Okay. That's so the whole topical cluster, you can look into it.
Yeah, so I use it even to get enterprise clients because they love visuals like this one. So I'll export all the data, I'll touch it up a little bit, and then I'll give them an image like this as well and say, hey, we've created the universe of topics for you. Here it is. This is what it looks like when it's visualized. Here's all the keywords. You can switch it up and see it this way too. So we've separated out where it has questions, the keywords, and it will aggregate the search volume as well. One of the ideas of topical authority is that you want to focus on single categories and expand it. So this allows you to do that, where you can focus on, we're in one category and I can just focus on single subcategories if I wanted to. So really helpful. The workflow is super simple. Once you send it off, like I said, it's going to be, you'll see it in here where the title was here. So simple steps to create your business budget. What is a business spreadsheet? You create an outline. You can scrape competitor outlines. You can do a manual one. You can bulk create them as well. And we do it asynchronously. And then you can rewrite your articles. You can write your articles in 15 major languages. So super simple, really elegant tool to just kind of do a lot of the things that I wanted to do for my agency. And I just didn't have a tool at the time. The end result is this: contentsprout.ai/sample. Actually, no, let's use this one.
We can't see
so, yeah, let me share. Are you able to see it? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm building this site in public so people can see it, but let's do bourbon nutrition facts.
So this content is completely from here, right?
All of it is AI and my editing process. So I have an entire process for creating AI content, my AI photos. I have a process for, okay, let's get audio for it. Here's what my AI image with Canva looks like as well. And then I'm doing very little editing to any of these. It's just, it automatically bolds, it automatically internally links, it automatically creates these tables, and they rank really, really well. So
yeah, that's the question I was coming to. So do they rank? Right.
Let's take a look. High CPU usage detected. So here's the past 6 months for the website for what we've basically been publishing since this year, and translate the content to other languages too, because why not get some good
and which tool are we looking into it? What is this SEO?
So I'm using, so my buddy Matthew, I believe his last name is Mellinger. He co-owns this tool called SEO Gets. Highly recommend it. All it is Search Console data, but it takes away a lot of the lag. It allows you to do filtering much easier, and you can append notes. So like right here, I appended the note, hey, I added the sidebar that promotes other articles. So like a semantic sort of interlinking thing. And you can append data. There's also Google Updates that's on here as well. And you can do reports. You can add your brand name if you wanted to. But yeah, so this was throughout all the updates that have been happening, it's just a content website and it's working very well. The actual user data is really good too. People are actually reading the articles. They stay on it for a long time. They read at least 2 articles. Yeah, I think if I was to turn on display at this point, I would have about $250 of monthly income. I don't want to turn on display because I have a different strategy for monetization.
Right.
Yeah, this stuff works.
Okay, can I ask a couple of more questions for this?
Yeah, go for it.
So how does, so it is there a content limit to these when it's being generated, or do I have a choice, or it just generates, reads and generate? So top 3 results have, so how does it determine how much longer the content will be based on the search? Does it do anything?
So it's not, I've taught it, I basically created an AI model that is based purely off of semantics and a semantic understanding and entity SEO perspective. The idea there is you want to have an established topical border where you don't go too long and it's not too short. So sometimes the articles will be 1,200 words. On average, they are about 3,000. And then typically you might have 400 words too much.
Okay.
But the idea is we'd rather give you too much than not enough. And really, it's just about right all the time. So the length is kind of auto-determined. AI is making that decision automatically. It's not based off of the SERP. It's based off of semantics and this
So
sort
just
of
like
AI
for
model.
does it based on the SERP, so this is more on semantic size.
Yeah, length is based not off SERP, but based off of your own, based off of semantics.
Okay. Okay.
Now you can adjust your outline. You can, based on the amount of headings you have, it's obviously going to increase the article size or decrease it. So you always get to choose the outline before you publish or before you start writing. So if you wanted to increase the outline, then it would go longer. If you wanted to decrease it, go shorter. It's just up to you.
Okay. So that is actually a very interesting tool on coming up. And I think, so how much does it on an average cost to generate one article like this?
Yeah, so there's 3 different things you can do. There's, if you want to use us to outline, then it's 1, and you want to edit the outline stuff, that's 1 credit. A credit is $1. And then if you want to write the article, it's 7 credits. And then if you want to do a rewrite where we are writing the article basically 2.5 times. So I think most people, if you don't know, all of those tests where we see, hey, the AI passed the bar exam and, you know, it's so good, it's passing all these things. Those tests are often multi-iteration tests. So they might get prompted 5 times. And then did you get at the right answer after 5 times? That's what I'm doing. And I should have said this earlier, but that's actually a big difference between Content Sprout and other tools. We don't cut corners. We're doing it the way that like PhD researchers tell us to do it. And it ends up working. So if you want to do a rewrite where it goes in the extra mile, make sure that you really get that depth, those tables and stuff too, then that's an extra 3 credits. So at minimum 7 credits, maximum 11. So you can go anywhere between $7 to $11.
Does it, while researching, does it go out on the web and do a latest research? Or
yes, yes, it does.
Okay, that sounds a good package, right?
Yeah.
And so of course, this tool, I see honestly a lot of tools. So these tools actually stand out quite different from what I've seen. We use a lot of tools as well. Definitely, I would love to give it a try as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I would love to have you there. We have a Facebook group if you need anything, and super helpful tool. Obviously, there's still more to do for SEO to rank, but I think content's kind of like half the game. If you can get that part done, then technically, if you had enough time and good content, it becomes about 80% of the game. It's just that people don't want to wait years, you know.
Right. So it seems a lot of thinking must have gone into this tool while you develop. So what were the biggest challenges you faced while developing Content Sprout AI, and how did you overcome that?
Man, I was literally just writing this last night too, trying to get that story out. I would say the biggest challenges were, it took me 1,000 hours and so many nights of just like, I would stay up till 3 a.m. I'd pass out on the floor here and just like, I'd wake up, at 7 a.m. start again, and it was just mind-numbing. What I found was it's easy enough to get the AI to give you something good 80% of the time. It's really hard to get it 100% of the time, and with no extra prompting required on the end user. Typically, you could always at least have like a follow-up prompt that I manually go through, and now the section's fine, but how do I, automate that? That part was hard. Removing those words was really hard. Oh, the outline was super hard. So there's like a telltale sign if content is AI, and a lot of times it's just how the outlines are structured. So I'd say that ChatGPT and all LLMs, they're trained on dirty data. They just start getting everything. So its concept of what an outline is, of what an article is, of what a blog is, I tested every possible sort of like word permutation of like, okay, is it better if I call it a blog, an article, a manual, a guide, and then I'm asking all the same prompts. And then I mess with the temperature. Okay, if I mess with lower randomness, higher randomness, what's happening there? That's super hard too. So I'd say that's probably consistency, the outline, removing those AI words, and just kind of overcoming the whole dirty data thing. And then semantic SEO has a very particular way of handling content. So I needed to teach it. I needed to strip away its bad knowledge and fill it with good knowledge. So that was the difficulty. And I'm glad I'll probably have to dive back into that phase of development again, because I'm doing this with AI ad copy, trying to build that module where we can do emails and landing pages and stuff. But it was nice at least taking a break from, just literally just staring at an open AI screen or Claude screen.
Okay. All right. Now, so given your background with the content sprout, how do you see content marketing fitting into the overall strategy?
So how do I see like content? It's like blog content fitting into SEO strategy?
The whole content marketing.
Content marketing. So I don't think SEO is the answer for everybody. I don't think, at least devoting tons of resources to it. I actually think that for a lot of people, I don't see a reason why not to have SEO if it is low impact on your finances. So like if I was a SaaS company and I'm writing to, let's say it's a cash flow accounting software or something, just if it's cheap enough to write content, just get content out there and you might start ranking. If you start to see movement and traction, maybe you'll get to page 2. That happens all the time with like Flask and Barrel. I'm on page 2 for I think over 100,000 monthly searches right now. And I haven't done any backlinks to it, but I'm just posting it raw. If I get there, then it goes, all right, well, maybe it warrants some further investment. So I think AI is allowing us to sort of, if you can get the right tool, the right workflow, you can minimize the amount of financial impact and the amount of time. And then it helps you sort of prioritize your content. That's only one piece. I think content is going to be, or SEO in general, is becoming more about brand. I have a buddy, Michael Merlino, and he calls it brand optimization. And I think, and now I'm starting to see, what's his name? Neil Patel. Neil Patel is also, I think he's caught on too, and he's calling it SEO everywhere optimization, or like search everywhere optimization, I think. So I kind of like that idea. So either brand optimization, search everywhere optimization. But if you read the patents, everything in patents ends up being somehow used in the search engine later. And there might be a 2-year delay, 4-year delay. There's old patents that are on LinkedIn. They're on how Google's using social media to determine things about your brand, your content. It's trying to create a brand profile and try to think about it from the perspective of a Google engineer. Black Hat SEO, it's been pretty easy because for a while it was just based on PageRank, which, by the way, is now deprecated if you read the Google League. So now it's PageRank NS. I'm not going to go into that, but there's more. If there's more things that Google is looking at, and it's not just one thing that's easy to game, makes it more likely that Google is going to have a more dependable authority metric or whatever. So I think that's what's happening right now. If you have social media presence, if you have brand searches, if there's some sort of popularity signal, and we can look at YouTube, which is probably the best algorithm out there, or TikTok, for that sort of an AI that is trained to recognize and use popularity signals. We're at that point. It's much easier also to just measure. Basically, we're using the human brain instead of trying to quantify everything in a math formula where it's, what is this secret math formula for identifying the perfect content. Learn how to react and understand what people are, how they're reacting to content. So that's what Google's doing. They're in a lawsuit right now, and they literally had to spill the beans. It's called Nav Boost. If anyone wants to search Nav Boost, that's the also in the Google leak. But yeah, that's where content marketing is going. It's more diversification, and if you're going to diversify, you can do I think a couple things. You either spread yourself thin and be like okay in a lot of areas, or you choose one area to go super hard on. That could be YouTube. And then you'll typically want to have one or two other channels that you're at least doing like mediocre at. I think that's what everyone should be doing with content marketing. We have enough tools now where you can be mediocre just with AI and like a tiny SOP. So just do that. Maybe it's converting those images on your blog into Pinterest posts. Maybe it's creating a video or audio version of your content, or maybe providing your own thoughts in a video and then embedding it on an article of, I review the best laundry machine. Okay, well, maybe just put a video on there. Easy enough to do. People want to connect with people, not brands. So I think that's the other thing with content marketing. Try to become any project you're doing, there should be a person behind it. There should be personality behind it. And that's what I'm seeing ranking. That's what I'm seeing work. I'm seeing businesses built out of thin air just based off of that.
Do you think the content should be people first? I think I've read some of these of yours where you are a strong advocate of people first content. Is that correct?
Yeah, as long as you keep within the framework of how a machine will read your content, yes. So I think a lot of times it actually aligns though, like the topic sentence, having a header and then immediately answering it. People want their questions answered immediately anyway, so that happens to align. And a lot of people first philosophies are actually overlapping with how Google is reading content to begin with. The one difference might be some of the topics I'm including, or I might reiterate myself multiple times in an article. And if I was just people first, I might not do that. I might just, move on to the next section. So there are some little tweaks where I might be doing some things that are a little bit more robot focused. But yeah, ultimately, if you can create content that people like, I would say the majority of ranking at this point is user signals, especially with local SEO. And this is why CTR manipulation is so big right now, is because, like if you can manipulate and not get caught, Google will rank you so fast. You need some other base metrics of authority Google wants to see other things. And as long as you can kind of hit the minimum and then you have that other stuff, that's when you shoot off like crazy. It's the people that try to just go from 0 to, let me just start sending 100 clicks a day, or, those are the people that get penalized.
Okay. Now, there are many misconceptions about AI in content creation and SEO. Of course, one we discussed that it creates bad content, of course. Now, what are some that you frequently encounter and how do you address them?
People have said that you can't get AI to like on LinkedIn. I see this more so than anywhere else. And it's usually the communities, nothing against Moz, but it's usually the people that are in those Moz type communities. They're the ones that are usually saying, hey, AI can't do this, it can't do that. And I'll see it can't create good outlines. I disagree. I think it creates great outlines. It can't write good content. It can write good content. It can't replace content writers. It literally has. It has been replacing content writers. And I have friends who are content writers who they've had to adapt, and they can no longer do what they previously were doing.
Right.
AI content, it will get penalized. I don't think it's AI that's getting penalized. It's irresponsible use of AI that gets penalized. To touch on this briefly, I don't think Google just wants you to push out. There are exceptions and you can get rewards. I just believe that you are ripe for a slap in the face from Google if you start posting 60 a day from get-go, or 100 a day from the get-go, whatever it is, or you just want to do 10,000 posts and just upload them all. That kind of stuff, I have seen so many just huge ranking spikes into and then crashing down. So my philosophy with content is you should be doing, Google's a business. They don't want you to spam them, and it costs them money to crawl the web. So you need to earn the trust of Google before you can start moving up. I just now hit the phase. I have a tool and I have unlimited credits of a tool that's amazing for content. Why am I not just posting a bajillion articles? Well, it's because I just now got to the point where I believe that now I think Google would allow that. So now this is the first month where I'll be posting 60 articles a month.
Okay.
Before that, though, I've been doing at most probably one every other day. I've been doing like 10 to 15 probably a month for a while. And I think that's kind of the big thing. People have a lot of misconceptions about AI because they did it incorrectly. And without understanding that there's other ways to do it, or the exact place they went wrong with AI, then they make these sweeping assumptions that AI can't work, doesn't work, you'll get penalized. You can even look at the guidelines that Google provides. They very clearly did not say that AI content should not be used. It wants original content, which sometimes AI content, even without scraping the web, just AI content can be original, because no one has written a blog with all that stuff structured yet. Just because Google scraped it or OpenAI scraped it and has it, doesn't mean the SERP already has it. So that's one thing. You can actually have original for the web and what Google has access to just with raw AI. But AI can still do 80% of your article, and then you put the original stuff in. Hire an expert for an hour of their time. Great. Now you can have a much more scalable system. So I'd say those are all the things that I'm seeing when people talk about AI and all the misconceptions around it. It's mainly around that.
You are a director in a Helium agency. Is this still an active job you have?
Yes, it is. So I spend the majority of my time on Helium clients, and I manage millions in ad spend. I bring in leads for us, and I do a lot on Facebook, do a lot on Google, and it's a fun job. I like it a lot. It's a great agency. Ultimate dream is to own my own brand. So obviously I don't want to stay there forever, but it's a great job. And I like working with clients as long as I'm not the owner of the business. And certain clients just suck, but that's life.
So as a director of marketing at Helium SEO, of course, you must have some key strategies to stay ahead in such a competitive field. Could you share a few of these strategies with us?
To stay ahead in a competitive field? Yeah, always learn. I thought at one point that I was like, well, I'll just push really hard and then I'll sail and just kind of like cruise, right? I'll do all this work and then I'll just take a break. That doesn't exist. It really doesn't exist. So in my opinion, just be ready for, if you want to continually move up and be a director, vice president, CMO, that kind of thing, well, you're always learning. So for me, I'm a firm believer that algorithms, while they are poison for the mind in a lot of ways on social media and political garbage and all this stuff, I have crafted my algorithm where I get suggested amazing content all the time on every platform. And I treat every platform that I'm on as very deliberately who I interact with. I know that I'm not just going to like it just for the sake of liking it. I want to like it because I want LinkedIn to suggest me more. I want YouTube to suggest me more. It's, yes, support your creators, support those people, but ultimately you are creating an engine for yourself to learn. And it's like having this personal assistant that's just going out and finding the best things for you. So now YouTube, I can get so many things from YouTube. And I'd say that's how I stay ahead is I am digesting at least about an hour of content a day. And then whether I'm listening to it in the car, whether I read it at night, whether I'm in the shower and I'm blaring it, I could just be pooping, man. I don't care what I'm doing. I'm going to be trying to squeeze in some time just to improve a little bit. So that's how I stay ahead. Minimize my time with games, minimize my time with wasting time, and maximize the potential for learning on every platform I'm on.
So what are some of the most effective SEO strategies that you recommend to businesses or will like to recommend for businesses?
Yeah. Are we talking local or are we talking national type brands?
You can give us for both local as well as national.
Okay. So I'd say that a big one is schema markup, just because it kind of covers, it's solidifying Google's understanding of your content. So you might not have the most well-structured blog. You might not have the best formula that's logical, that has like the hierarchies and all this stuff. The easiest thing to implement first, if you create schema markup, then you're kind of creating, there's three different knowledge bases that Google uses, or any data company will use. There's a structured knowledge base, semi-structured knowledge base, and unstructured knowledge base.
Right.
A blog is unstructured. Wikipedia is semi-structured. Wikidata is structured. So structured is basically, all it is, hey, instance of. This is a statement of, class of. It's just kind of making these tiny statements. And that's kind of what schema is trying to do. It's taking the text and it's just trying to make declarations and tying them into the known databases that Google, or knowledge bases that Google's using. So that's one of the big things I recommend. And you can use AI to do that for you as well. I would say the best thing to do, you can find, if you find a competitor that has good schema, or you take a course and someone has good schema and you can find a good example of it, take the schema, put it into OpenAI or put it into whatever chat model you want, give it your business info, and then just tell it to replace, everything with your stuff instead. So that's a huge one. Next would be your actual website structure. Let me present something real quick, because I think this is probably the biggest thing you could do, and people just aren't doing it. So let's do here again. Let's go to the flask and barrel. And I just want to show you the sidebar, because I think this is huge. And the things I'm trying to share are the things that don't take a huge monumental lift. It's just take your existing content and squeeze more out of it. One, always have a table of contents. Always. And ideally, you want it to have a good design, because user metrics are super important now. You want to find ways to increase user satisfaction. So here's an example. I have an internal link structure that operates like Wikipedia, and basically it'll highlight the internal link and it increases the amount of pages people actually click. Little things like that. I haven't changed any of my blog content. It's just increasing the likelihood that they'll keep on clicking. Next, they can access whatever they want here. So, all right, well, I'm on this article about bourbon nutrition. What else do they have about bourbon? What is it? How to drink it? The best bourbons. I'm on nutrition facts. The difference between bourbon and whiskey. You want to satisfy the full user journey. And if you can satisfy the user where they don't need to go back to Google, that's a satisfied click. Google doesn't care if they're only on your page for 10 seconds. They care, did you go back to Google and continue your search journey? If your search journey ended after 10 seconds, then the page did its job. So that's a huge one. And this gives you huge ranking boosts. Push this here. I believe this one, all I did for this is in appearance for WordPress, you can select menus, create a menu, and then do a little bit of web dev work just to push it as a sidebar thing to work with whatever structure you have.
So does this get updated with the new content you add, or it's fixed like 10 pieces of content for each category?
I'm adding content. It doesn't automatically do it. I add it. You don't want it automatically. You want to hand pick everything. So that's one thing that I try to do. What it means
is American whiskey might have more content, but you choose to only highlight these 5 or 6, right?
Correct. So typically every single niche has the ability to be templated. So with my niche, there's American, Scotch, Irish, Japanese, Canadian. All of those basically have the same intents and questions around them. So I'm going to, for each of those, this is another boost. If you can templatize your website, it really gets Google to start to understand, and you are maximizing crawl budget for Google. So if you can make things cheaper on Google while meeting these other thresholds, then you win. And if you can do that consistently over time, you win. There's all sorts of things here of like, okay, just think as a Google engineer, think as like Google is a business. How then would you maximize or minimize the cost as Google and still ensure quality? If you think like that, then typically a lot of these things make sense. Yeah, I'm basically, as I have it, I'm trying to do like the same 10 articles for every single thing. It's what is it, the best ones, how to drink it, the nutrition. You want to compare it to other ones. What does it taste like? What do you want to mix it with? What are the cocktails? That kind of stuff.
Okay, got it. So this web structure is, of course, super important when it comes to keeping in mind the UI UX and how
Yes.
that is.
And then the last, I'll give one more. I'll just say that you should invest into social, where not with the intent of making money off of it necessarily, but just to have a heartbeat. So convert your content, a blog article, into a social post. Heck, you can even buy followers. Now, if you buy followers, you will likely damage your ability to get suggested or whatever, or like go viral or whatever, because social media, the native channels will know if you're buying them. Google doesn't know. So I think that if you have 1,000 followers, 10,000 followers, cheap enough to buy, that's a signal. Google sees it. Okay, great. Now, there might be some other things where it's going to measure your interaction and brand searches and stuff like that, but you can mess with brand search through ads. I would say that try to focus on your brand search. Make sure people are actually aware of your brand, searching for your brand. Do things where your brand is discussed. That lifts SEO efforts drastically. And that's part of the reason why I'm building the Flask and Barrel in public, because at will, I can give a bunch of free advice to people and share my website and then tell them, hey, if you go here and go through all the pages, reverse engineer my schema, look at what I'm doing, use it for yourself. Man, I just got a lot of brand traffic. And over and over again, boom, I get a new ranking record if I do that. So those are the things I'd recommend most. Make sure all your information on your brand is filled out, your company info. Remember that if you're not being talked about everywhere else, then it's your job to make sure that Google knows everything about you.
Okay.
Because it wants to know who's the founder, when were you founded, why were you founded, what's the vision statement, who are the team members, how are they qualified, all of the stuff. Just think about, like, if I'm going to trust you, what would make me trust you more? Tell me more about you. Think of it as like you're dating somebody, you're courting somebody. You need to actually, what are your hobbies? Like all of that stuff. Heck, even create a separate website just for the founder that has even more information. So all that kind of stuff, you got to think more like that. That's what I mean by brand, is communicate who you are as a brand. Each individual is a brand. Your company is a brand. Develop that.
Okay. Now, what are some of your favorite SEO tools and resources?
I'd say, man, I don't do on-page optimization stuff anymore, but InLinks for on-page optimization, I've loved them for a long time. They also have an internal linking tool that's really nice. They use JavaScript though, which is worse than HTML, so I typically don't try to do that. I like WordLift. WordLift is creating, I don't even know how to make this simple. It creates basically structured data in a way that is so data engineering sort of thing that, like, it's just delivering this thing in a way that Google really likes. Entity Clouds, that's my programmatic schema tool that my buddy has built, and Entity Clouds is amazing. And once again, I'm going to get super nerdy, but the idea is you're delivering schema in the DOM. The DOM is the first thing that Google is reading, other than the URL of the website. So before a single pixel loads, the DOM fires. If you can deliver the schema inside of the DOM, then it kind of has everything it needs to then contextualize every pixel now that it's going to read. So Entity Clouds does that at scale, boom, across all your pages. Super easy. And that one's really nice. And then last one, there are a couple ones that are that are nice just for local pages. If you're trying to do a bunch of local pages, 5-minute site. Have you ever heard of that one? Someone built this forever ago. It's like, small SEO tools.
Okay, right.
Yeah, so like that, they started kind of like at the same time. So 5-minute site, you can just get, you enter your zip code, enter the mile radius, and then you can enter your keyword, and then it'll spit out every city plus keyword and give you all those keywords. Super nice to do. Plug that into a tool of your choice. It's great. If you want local pages in bulk, WP-Zinc for WordPress. Best plugin, $99 one time, and now you have a mass page builder. My favorite plugin, SEO Press. You can do AI meta descriptions, AI titles, AI alt text automatically. That's super nice. Plus, it has redirections built in. It's got a auto indexer that's there. It has I haven't seen any security issues. I used to do rank math, had some security issues, and then I switched over to SEO Press. So I definitely recommend that one. Okay. And I don't know if there's any other SEO tools. Oh, Ahrefs. All day. Ahrefs is incredible. It's just the best. It's the best SEO tool out there. I wish they had an affiliate program. They, for those that don't know, they are the 4th largest crawler in the world. An SEO tool has better crawl than search engines, than like Russia's entire search, China's entire search engine. Like, that's mind-blowing to me. So I love their tool.
Right. You are also a contributor to Search Engine Land, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now, I mean, of course, which gives you a unique perspective on industry trends. So what are some of the emerging trends in SEO that marketers should keep an eye
on? I would say we already all know this. AI is disrupting everything. I would encourage every single one of you to look up AI agents.
AI agents,
which is basically another word for, it's another word for kind of like think of it as like a micro worker. So an agent is trained on one thing and one thing only. So think of like a McDonald's line. You have one person that's flipping patties. You have one person that's at the cash register. You have one person that's giving the food up. All of that stuff. AI agents are taking over. It's only a matter of time before we have really good AI agents for every single thing that we're doing. I'm building my own. You can build your own. Highly recommend that you look into that. YouTube has a ton on it. We are moving to a spot where AI is going to be able to do most of the heavy lifting for every single piece of your business, whether it's taking phone calls, sending text messages, doing the actual emails, because we're just able to connect it all. And then instead of having, let's say you have a company of 300 people right now. Well, you could then just, instead of having 5 people in a division, 1 person per division. That's kind of where we're heading right now. So it's going to, I think, affect the bigger companies more. We already have, smaller companies are already scrappy. So really what's happening is smaller companies are going to be able to make more money, I believe. And they're just going to keep on doing what they're doing, being scrappy, trying to find ways to automate. Bigger companies are going to downsize, I would say 30% within 2 years. The only reason they wouldn't is optics and investment money and stuff. So like, we're already at this stage. I have a buddy who he's selling this for like $250K, and basically it's every assist. It's your calls, it's your GMB, social media. It does all the interaction. It is your assistant, an executive assistant. It's your VA, and it's incredible. And he's selling it to enterprise companies like crazy right now. And I think that's the thing you need to be aware of. We're at this trend. The other one outside of that is going to be SEO. I'll give one for SEO and one for ads. SEO, it's about do more content. Topical authority is a thing, straight up. And now you have AI to help you. So there's more than one kind of authority now. It's not just backlink authority. We have topical authority, which is what I'm achieving with Flask and Barrel. The idea is you want to create a universe of content if you want to rank. works for local SEO as well. So create a glossary, whatever you want to do. I did this for a mortgage site, and we did it for so many different things, and it ranks really well. For ads, I don't know if for those of you that haven't done ads in the past, it's easier than ever to do ads now, largely because AI can actually be trusted. So the hardest thing in the world for Facebook marketing is typically it's going to be your audience, trying to make sure you have the right audience. No more, that doesn't matter. Go broad. I'm talking by broad, I mean you choose location, you choose gender, you choose age. You don't need anything else. The creative itself creates the audience. If you believe that Facebook Reels and TikTok and YouTube, if you are satisfied with the engine and you think that it's delivering you good content, that's how the ads work too. So all you need to do, the only difference between ads and organic is you're forcing the same creative in front of someone's face. People think that somehow now they're like, because it's ads, they don't need to invest into all the other things that make good creative. No, the more you invest into the creative, the less you have to do with anything else. Good creative will do 80% of the legwork for you. And you don't need to do any sort of advanced bidding, placements. You can get by really, really well just by doing that. So I'd say those are the three things to look out for. You have your AI, your PPC, and you have your SEO.
Right. Those are a lot of takes for.
Hopefully that helps, but I don't know who the audience is. I'm assuming people have multi skills and not just SEO, but AI is huge. Don't sleep on it. You're going to get left behind.
Right. On a more personal note, what drives you as a marketer?
Man, I think about this. I don't know. I think I have ideas. I think that we don't know ourselves as much as we think we do. I'll say currently what I think is what drives me is I want to be the best. So I'm competitive, but ultimately I don't, as I'm like 34 now, I don't really care as much about being the best. I've had mentors that told me I was seeking affirmation, and they said, are you still learning every day? And are you improving every day? That was the response. I wanted affirmation. I said, am I good now? Am I great? Am I the best? Where am I? Is this impressive? Are you still learning? And then I thought about it for like a year. And I think that's what it's about now is I just want to continue to grow. That's it. As long as I'm doing that, that's what's driving me. And I want to be able to point at anything and just be like, I can make money. I can sell that. I can sell that. Doesn't matter where I'm at. I just want to be able to sell anything. So that's kind of what drives me is, I guess, a little bit of fear. I want to know that no matter what, if push comes to shove, I can make money, make a business, make any situation I'm in, I can turn it around and make a success out of it. And that's the fear element of it. We all are motivated by fear.
Right. So my next question was actually, how do you stay motivated and inspired? So it's more with the fear, right?
Fear, and I have a kid. So it's like, if I want my family to grow in size and I want all these options for my kid, that's kind of it. It's the balance. I don't need to be making $10 million. Heck, I don't even need to make $1 million, but I still have my goals. Ultimately, I just want the freedom to be able to give my kid anything that she wants within reason. Like that would be good for her development. I don't want her to be spoiled, but I just want that. And fear and family, those are the two big ones.
Okay, Andrew, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. And thank you for sharing your insights and experience with us. And of course, giving us a demo and a walkthrough of Content Sprout. Before we wrap up, where can our listeners follow your work or get in touch with you?
Yeah, so I have a couple places. I would say Facebook's the big one. Andrew Sterling Ansley. I'll give you the links for it. I started a school community a week ago. So I've got 150 members in there now. I'm just sharing my SOPs, my processes. You can ask questions. I'll do 30 minutes, sort of like free 30-minute sessions with you. It'll be with a bunch of people. You can ask questions, first come, first serve. I do interviews. I'm interviewing a guy that's managed $250 million in ad spend in a few hours. So that's going to be in there. That's $20 a month though. So it's not for everybody, but if you do want that, then you get more. LinkedIn, that's the other place that I'm at. So I'll post some LinkedIn content occasionally and Facebook content. I have a YouTube, but it's very rare that I'm able to post because I have too many things going on.
All right. Thank you again, Andrew, and thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to the Agency Insider podcast for more insightful conversations. Until next time, thank you.